Mary, thank you for that lovely, calming music. I particularly appreciated it. Good morning to all of you. Good morning. Good morning. All of you joining us here and on YouTube. A quick heads up to those of you who are attending on YouTube. If you would like to share a joy or concern later in the service or an announcement, please write it in the chat so that our staff can bring it up to us at the appropriate time. Thank you. We're especially glad to have those of you who may be here for the first time and hope to see you again soon. I'm Jean Weigant, your worship leader. And our speaker today is our own Reverend Robin Zucker, who will be asking us, is Eastrose your third place? And reflecting on that question with us. As we begin today, let's start by greeting each other. But first, stand, turn and look at the cameras, and we will wave to the people who are on YouTube. And then greet each other here in the chapel. We wish to acknowledge, there we go, that for at least 13,000 years, many tribes and bands have made their lives here where our church home and our communities now exist. We remember and honor these people who have made their homes in this land, the ones here now, and the ones who used to be here. We gather remembering this is our home, but not just ours. In peace, may we share this land and honor one another. Let's begin our service today with the responsive reading number 443 in the back of your gray hymnal. We arrive out of many singular rooms. The words will also be on the screen. Ordinarily, I would read the plain type and you would read the italics, but I think this reading works better if we reverse it. So I will get you started with plain type, then I'll read the italics. So let's begin. We arrived out of many singular rooms, walking over the branching streets. We come to be assured that brothers and sisters surround us, to restore their images on our eyes. We enlarge our voices in common speaking and singing. We try again that solitude found in the midst of those who with us seek their hidden reckonings. Our eyes reclaim the remembered faces, their voices stir the surrounding air. The warmth of our hands assures us, and the gladness of our spoken names. This is the reason of cities, of homes, of assemblies in the houses of worship. It is good to be with one another. Let's prepare for the service with the prelude. Our chalice lighter this morning is Shirley Jean Schmidt. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you all today for our Ingathering and Water Communion service. We start today with a reading that very much ties in with what I will say later, and it's called I Know a Place by Martha Kurtz Hogan. I know a place where calm is, where the rain comes and refreshes the earth in the cool of the day, in the quiet of the evening. I know a place where light is, where the lamp warms the house and the candle never flickers, in the chill of the night, in the darkness of the evening. I know a place where love is, where the mother holds the child and cradles it in singing, in the quiet of the night, in the shadows of the dusk. I know a place, I will not leave it. I rise in the morning, I will dance in the dayshine, I will stretch forth my arms at noon and lift up my voice at twilight. In the glare of the day and in the coolness of the evening, I will sing, I know a place. Let us sing together our first hymn. We'll rise as we are willing and able to sing When I Am Frightened. It's number 1012 in the teal hymnal. And there's also words on the screen. Please rise in body or spirit as you are willing and able.
We've done this several times, so I'm just going to give you a short intro.
Most everybody here knows me. I am president of the board, Cynthia, and we had a new member ceremony planned for today, but what I'm going to do, since we don't have our inductees, I'm not sure what we call them, here with us. Confirmed members. I just want you to know who the board, your board of trustees, has voted into membership here at the church. Tyler Perez, Luna Conrad, Shelby and Todd Dalton, Deanna and Ryan Hall. Oh, wait a minute.
Is this one of them?
No, but. We do have the young ones. Yes, all right. Then I'll call Deanna and Ryan up to the front. Shelby.
Yes.
And is Todd here with you?
Yeah, and they're in there in the kids' room. Do you want me to go grab them?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So you were all hiding out from me. Well, this is nice that you've come forward. I will turn it over to Reverend Robin. Yes, Reverend Robin. Just, I'm not sure where to tell them all to
I
stand.
don't have the piece of paper, though, so. So if you're brand new to Unitarian Universalism, you might wonder what is happening here. We are congregations that are self-governing and brought together through something called congregational polity. So when someone wants to make a full commitment to the congregation, they become members. And for centuries, they've signed a membership book. They've gone through a ceremony like this of welcoming, and they've made a bigger commitment to offer their time, talent, and treasury to their congregation. So I want to say to you, may you find within these sheltering walls both inspiration and wisdom for daily living. May you also find here the strength and courage to go beyond these walls to serve the need of others. And there should be some words on the screen for the congregation to say. We welcome your choice.
We celebrate your newfound commitment to this Unitarian Universalist congregation. We pledge to honor your individuality and freedom, and we look forward to the new insight and vitality you bring.
And then you all have some words to say if you want to turn toward the screen.
We join you in eager anticipation, understanding the responsibilities of membership, and aware that we are choosing this as our church home. We bring to Eastrose Fellowship our passion and energy, our doubts and concerns, and our willingness to serve the needs of this community as we are able.
And then all of us together.
Let us build together a community of celebration, inspiration, sustenance, love, and service. In the Spirit, we renew our commitment to seek in love, to care and to help, and to help one another. So we need.
Let's applaud our It's the Unitarian Universalist Pocket Guide and bookmark, and we look forward to growing in community with you. So it's like one household. Yeah. Thank you, guys. We're so looking forward. Drop for a moment into a few moments into that quiet part of the service where I ask you to just go within and experience some spaciousness as we enter into the part of service with our reading and sermon, and you being open to that. So if you can put your feet on the floor, uncross your arms and uncross your legs, close your eyes, and just exhale. Big exhale to start. And then start some rhythmic breathing. 4 beats in slowly through your nose, 5 or 6 beats out slowly through your mouth in a steady stream, seeing how much spaciousness you can create from the top of your head to the soles of your feet that are rooted to the earth. And just breathe. No high thinking, no problem solving, just the breath. Stop and feel, breathe, and allow. And we'll just breathe together for a while. Imagine your breath being like a stone dropped in water. And with each drop of the stone, you hear these words: I choose peace. I choose ease. I choose joy. Use your breath to release tension in your body, starting with your head and your face. Move down to your shoulders and your arms, and then your torso and your legs and your feet. Become spacious. You can take your breath everywhere you go. It's your portable first aid. Stop and feel, breathe, and allow. The quiet song today is Come, Come, Whoever You Are, and I understand we'll be singing it in a round.
Yes, we always have this side of the chapel be group 1, and then you're group 2. So we've done it about 100 times, so I think.
Do you want to go to that side?
1 and 2. Please remain seated. I'll
Jean
play
will
it
be
through-
part 1.
I'll play it through once and then we'll begin. Well, we will all sing it through and then we'll start the round.
So we'll sing it through right now, or you're going to play it through.
I think you know it well enough. I'll just give you an
Once in
intro.
unison and then in a round.
Let's see.
Interestingly, in the original version of the poem, Rumi said, though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, come yet again come, which I think is an important part of the message. So I wanted to share that with you.
Our reading today is by the Reverend Victoria Safford, and it's entitled, "Why Do You Come, John?" I knew a man once who came to church every Sunday. You may find nothing remarkable in this, but think of it, a man who came every single Sunday. And it was not that he lacked other things to do. I knew him only in the last years of his life, a birthright Unitarian, a retired geologist, who, when he was not at church, was a volunteer for Amnesty International, for the local food bank, for the ACLU, for the Family Planning Clinic, the AIDS Project, the Audubon Society, and the splendid Community Chorus. Busier than any of us holding full-time jobs, he was committed, effective, and clear about what he could and would, and by his own standards, should contribute to the causes he cared for, the world and people he cared for. But what set him apart from all of us was that he came every single Sunday, and because of hearing loss, I think, more than any sense of his own importance, he sat in the front row. Why do you come, John, in all kinds of weather, when you're well and when you're not, when you like the guest speaker, and when you know you won't? Why do you come every Sunday? His answer was straightforward, like the man himself. I come, he said, because somebody might miss me if I didn't. He said it in a way not arrogant at all, but generously and honestly. He was the kind of person who saw it as his duty and privilege to welcome newcomers on Sunday morning, not because he needed more friends himself. The man was 80 years old, with a lifetime of friends and colleagues and acquaintances to spare. He had plenty of friends already, more than he could handle. He did it not because he wanted to evangelize our visitors or grow the church. On the contrary, he loved and missed the tiny congregation he'd joined in 1955. He felt a little lost with so many new faces, a little sad at all the changes. He greeted people as they came and steered them towards the minister, the coffee pot, the Sunday school, the guest book, the pledge cards, the sign-up sheets, because he felt it was the right and only fitting thing to do. When people come into your home, you welcome them as if there was nothing in that moment that matters more. He worked hard on Sunday mornings. He got up on Sundays expecting to work hard, to make others feel at home. He came with that in mind. And he was right. After he died, we missed him when he didn't come. And do you know what happened? The Sunday after his memorial, someone new, who'd never met John and now would never have the chance, walked right in and sat down in his empty place in the front row. A whole family just sat right down as if they owned the place, as if they had every right to be there, as if we were glad to see them. 2 women new to town and their toddler and baby. They came hoping there was room, and John himself would have been delighted. Is Eastrose your third place on pilgrimage and belonging? You may find this surprising, but I actually got a bit bored years ago while I was watching the film Lord of the Rings.
What with all the urgent fleeing over mossy hill and misty dale, the constant swashbuckling confrontation with unwashed adversaries, and the seemingly endless collection of sacred objects, the fork of Endor, the shoe of Candine, the hair clip of Nomak, and so on, I kind of lost interest at the 2-hour mark or so. Yet, there is a particularly powerful moment in the first hour of the film that has stayed with me and echoed in my ears, beckoning me toward ministerial reflection, especially today, as we ingather, as we welcome new members, and as we mingle our waters together. Frodo Baggins and his horror-footed friend Samwise Gamgee are setting out on their hero's quest when they begin traversing a cornfield at the edge of the Shire, their hobbit homeland. Sam stops as Frodo walks on until he notices his companion is at a standstill. When Frodo inquires about this hesitation, Sam responds, "If I take one more step, I'll be the farthest from home that I've ever been." And they claimed Sam wasn't too bright. He seems pretty darn observant to me. Now, in this statement, Sam captures the anxiety, the anticipation, the bittersweet sadness, and the excitement of leaving home, regardless of whether the home left behind is a village, a workplace, a relationship, a family, or a religious identity. Be it temporary or permanent, leaving home, it pushes our buttons. Even if we have set out on this pilgrimage voluntarily and enthusiastically, at times we end up pulling ourselves along, kicking and screaming. Change is hard. Growth can be painful. We get blisters. Our water bottles run low. The unfamiliar can be both tantalizing and terrifying. The quest can be confusing. And goodness knows how many slimy-teethed, stringy-haired, brawny foes might be lurking in the glade. Eastrose UU is a pilgrim's destination. This morning, we welcome all pilgrims through our open doors, members, friends, newcomers to this place of seekers. And over the past few months, particularly since I've arrived, I've noticed we've welcomed many visitors who are now growing in community with us. Like nearly 90% of UUs overall, these newest folk found Unitarian Universalism after a uniquely personal pilgrimage. You found us at the edge of a cornfield, atop a grassy knoll, in your own backyard, and sometimes after a stint in a very dry spiritual desert. Some of you have found this uncommon denomination and this congregation a long way from home, often with surprise and relief and anticipation and hope. And we've opened our doors and our YouTube channel to shelter you, to embrace you, and to rejoice. Think for a moment about your own journey here, whether it was decades ago or for the first time this morning. Perhaps you were raised as a Catholic or a Jew or a Pentecostal or an atheist or in a completely unchurched home. Then one day you took that first curious and heroic step and then another until you found yourself here, farther from home than you've ever been, coming through an open door you didn't even expect to knock on. As I said, you may be in the sanctuary for the first time this morning at a crossroads, somewhere at the beginning or the middle of your spiritual sojourn. Perhaps you're thinking what so many people have thought and expressed. I was a Unitarian Universalist all along and I never knew it. Who knew you guys were out there? Well, we've been out there for hundreds of years, and we're glad you've come to our open door. So Eastrose UU is your pilgrim's destination. And I assure you, you are not traveling alone. We will walk with you and stumble with you and get up and walk and stumble some more. I chose the first hymn today, When I Am Frightened, to express the way we can be in community with one another. The free and responsible search for truth and meaning, the thing that's most unique about us, it's an ongoing quest beyond many cornfields. Even after we've hung our hat comfortably on the hook of this hospitable and liberating faith, the road goes ever on and on, in the words of The Hobbit. You know, only you know how dire your individual quest felt for you as you set out from home, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically. You may have been in theological, intellectual, or political disagreement with your childhood faith, or you were not accepted for your core gender or sexual identity, or you sought community, or the kids required religious instruction, or you've been dehumanized in some way, or simply uninspired, needing more, wanting more, yearning for a deeper connection with others, and with a sacred source that feels right for you, feeds you, harbors you. You sought a third place, a term first coined in the 1980s by sociologist Ray Oldenburg in his book, The Great Good Place. It defines a locus of belonging and value beyond work and home, the first and second place in most of our lives, a third place. For some, this is a bar, like in Cheers, or a cafe, like in Friends. And for many, it's been a religious house of worship. Religious affiliation has been the norm in American society for centuries, and it has been where folks have typically sought the sense of belonging that is just a basic human need. Yet when I Googled third place this week, I encountered a lot of articles with titles like, "Do yourself a favor and go find a third place." What is a third place and why you should have one? And third places as community builders. These articles were interesting companions to the numerous essays I also found on the sharp decline in religious affiliation, the ever-present loneliness epidemic in America, yet with no corresponding decline in that desire to belong. It's a conundrum. What's significant to me is the elastic definition of belonging these days and how virtual communities hold out the promise of connection, but ultimately they fall short of basic human needs. We are bowling alone, in the name of another well-known book, and spending hours plugged into other people's lives on social media. But that really isn't belonging, is it? What does belonging mean to you in 2023? And why have you journeyed here today in search of it? You had other choices, just like John in our reading. Well, we can explore why folks, generally speaking, choose a UU congregation as their third place. Here are some possibilities. We walk through our open door to be reminded of the enduring truths of human dignity and freedom, to be called to service in society, to find connection with a fascinating assortment of feisty individuals, to be visible and known, to grow and thrive. You journey to this third place to participate in an unfettered exchange of ideas. Or at least that's what we're meant to have. And I will definitely stand in support of an unfettered exchange of ideas and not us all speaking the language of the movement at all times. John, from our reading earlier, came every Sunday because, in his words, someone might miss me if I didn't. He belonged, didn't he? We walk through our open door and we stay in order to revel in mystery, employ reason, to have a voice, to lift up life's abiding joys and confront life's sorrows together, to organize for justice. to protect democracy. We bond in order to nurture our children and honor their creative expression. And perhaps most obviously, we join to be where our spirits can run free, because we are religious orienteers here. We're armed with a metaphoric compass. We sometimes get east and west bungled up. We take the road less traveled by. Sometimes we get lost and get found. We punch our tickets at each wayside pulpit we encounter on the journey. We are people in motion, and this is our starting point. This is our third place, our home. Now, that might sound funky to some people. It's certainly not Grandma's old-time faith. Even so, Unitarian Universalism is a real religion. It's not religion light. And the word religion has nothing to do with God. It has to do with the binding together of other people, exactly what I'm talking about. Religion is not a word, actually, that has anything to do with theology. And Unitarian Universalism is a bona fide container, despite the harassment you may have received from folks who disapprove of your entry into this free faith. I agree with my colleague, Tom Owen Toll, who calls Unitarian Universalism the sacred chance, because it gives us the rich opportunity to share our spiritual lives with fellow travelers who are tied to us by choice rather than by habit. You had a choice to be here today, and you chose to be here today. To be sure, balancing the communal and the individual within our lives as you use can challenge us free thinkers, but the effort ultimately rewards us with a mature and spirit-filled life. Those who come thinking that this will be the path of least resistance because we can allegedly believe anything we want need to read the fine print. Because, the opposite is closer to the truth. Unitarian Universalism has very deep roots. It doesn't spring full-blown from the head of each new seeker when they walk through our door. And it takes real work to deepen along any spiritual path, especially one without clearly marked, rigid guideposts. What makes us unique is that when we get lost, we return not to a unifying creed, but to the very process of conversion to our own paths, to the endeavor of always becoming, walking, stumbling, dancing. And this is a gift, not a curse. I'm thinking now of one of my favorite Sufi poets, Hafiz, who tells us that the divine long ago drew a circle in the sand exactly around the spot where you are standing or sitting right now, a circle in the sand, right where you are. I was never not coming here, he writes. This was never not going to happen. If you also feel like you were never not coming here, then I hope that translates into a commitment to keep this open door open as a cherished third place. There's no free lunch in the free church, I like to say. With freedom comes responsibility. Many congregations, UU and otherwise, took a really hard hit during the 2 years. Some closed their doors permanently, or they're struggling to recoup their membership and momentum. We are here. This is a pretty full room. We're intact. You've done so well here at Eastrose through an unprecedented pandemic, and you've stayed connected, and you've managed to fund a very lean budget each of those pandemic-plagued years. Now we are walking through this open door together to this third place, needing to offer our time, talent, and treasury voluntarily and with as much generosity as we can in order to keep this enterprise going for ourselves, for future pilgrims on the edge of their own personal shires. I think John, from our reading earlier, really exemplified that. He understood that. He showed up, ready to serve. And I want to say to our visitors and our newer members, I want to assure you that we don't see you as new labor or with dollar signs in our eyes. You are not going to be asked to be president of the congregation at social hour today. Sorry, Cynthia. Yet, please consider a path you might take to deeper involvement here, as research does show that this kind of commitment leads to a greater sense of belonging. It's hard to feel like you belong when you aren't bonding or attaching or getting involved. You can find so many ways to be all in by talking with members or by reading our weekly e-news. Look for ways to connect, to be inspired, and serve. And if you have more ideas for that, I've put a little basket with note cards on the greeting table. Write down your ideas. They're all welcome. And finally, to attract others to this third place, this beloved community, we can become more effective liberal evangelists and share the good news of our free, newfangled, creedless, but values-rich faith with others. And I am happy to lead that mission for us. Eastrose is already, or could become, your pilgrim's destination. For if we didn't need or desire religion or that third place, we would be somewhere else this morning. But we do need it, and we do want it, sometimes even enough to walk, stumble, and dance beyond the familiarity of home. We do this because belonging offers us so much support for life's journey, its blind alleys, detours, and hairpin turns. We set out because our liberal religion helps us to define ourselves, love ourselves, challenge ourselves, regulate ourselves, and measure ourselves by our highest ideals. So come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, come, yet again come. Enter, rejoice, come in, and feel you have arrived and been welcomed into this place of love and light, passion, and purpose. Blessed be, blessed we, and amen. Our hymn is number 1028 in the teal hymnal, The Fire of Commitment, and the words will also be on the screen. Please rise as you are willing and able.
This one is very challenging, but we've done it a couple of times. So take a deep breath, do your best. I'm just going to give you a short intro, and then it really takes off.
At Eastrose, we support our church with our time, our talents, and our money. Each month, we share half of our offering with a community nonprofit that we support. This month, we're sharing with Outgrowing Hunger. And as you can also read in the petals, Outgrowing Hunger builds and operates community farms and gardens for refugees, immigrants, and people who care about affordable access to real food in Portland and Gresham. All the money raised will be used for free tokens for community members at the Rockwood Farmers Market, which means sales directly to immigrant and refugee farmers. The market is every Sunday, 1 to 5 p.m. at the Rockwood Market Hall Plaza on Burnside. Outgrowing Hunger is the contract operator for all the community gardens programs in Gresham, including Nadaka Park, and many of the gardens in East Portland. They also have a 22-acre farm in Boring where they offer irrigated farmland for rent to qualified growers. So a very good organization. If you are attending online, you may donate by visiting our website and clicking the donate button, or you may scan the QR code on the screen. If you're here for the first time, we invite you to let the basket pass and truly be our guest. The gifts of the congregation will now be most gratefully received. Thank you, Mary, and thank you for your generosity.
So a tradition in many Unitarian congregations, and I don't know that you've had you have? Yes, not for a while, is a water communion in the fall, the mingling of our waters. So I'm going to ask Jean to go over to the table. And I'm going to ask her during this introduction to pour some water for me. Each year as we gather in the fall, it's our custom to offer water as a symbol of our connection to one another. This morning, we honor 4 ways water is symbolic in our lives, our community, and our planet. The first is drought. We pour water that reminds us that while some have abundance, others struggle in scarcity. This container, now empty of water, reminds us of all who lack access to safe and affordable water. I dedicate this first water to begin our communion with this symbol of solidarity with all those around the world who are calling for a human right to water. It's also for all of the farmers who have lost crops and livestock because of drought and climate change, worsening every year. The second symbol is the waters that carry us. Second, we pour water that symbolizes travel, movement, and change. This water reminds us of the changes and transformations in our lives, especially this past 2 years and our journeys, whether spiritual or physical. Our third symbol is the water of storms. We pour this water reminding us of life's storms, our concerns, worries, frustrations, and losses. This water symbolizes the storms in our lives, the concerns and sorrows, the frustrations and confusion. This bowl is one of receiving and healing as it absorbs our storms. And finally, the water that sustains us, reminding us of the wellspring in our lives. We lift up this wellspring, such as this community, this third place of Eastrose. We honor the water that sustains us when we are feeling empty and the joys that give us hope. And now I'm going to invite you forward, just sort of row by row. If you've brought water with you, please come to Jean's side. Tell us about your water, just one sentence, not a long story, and what it symbolizes. And if you haven't brought water, come to this side. There's a little pitcher and some water. Just take a little bit, tell us what it symbolizes for you, and pour it into the larger bowl. And it can be anything. It can be your garden. It can be a special place where you've been. It can be rain. It can be anything, puddles. So I invite you forward, and Mary will accompany us with some rain sticks. So if you all want to start.
My husband and I have been going somewhere every month this year to get away, and our travels have taken us from the San Diego, furthest south point of the western United States, up to Bellingham, Washington, the northernmost, one of the northernmost points, not of the Alaskan Peninsula, and it has been such a wonderful journey.
This is the first year I've actually grown my own tomatoes, and they actually worked. I've been a bad parent, but I've been still picking them, and this is the water that I pour on them every day.
This is for the circle of water that we experience going to the Olympic Peninsula, from the creeks and streams and rivers to the ocean, to the fog off the coast, to at the very end the rain coming down on us, and it was just wonderful to re-experience that.
I've traveled several places this summer, but most recently to Missouri to visit family.
This water is all the places that Selena and I have gone outside of this community and outside of this country to remember that there's a wider world and there are different people, and that all of these differences are still human. So, Europe, Vancouver, BC, Mexico, If I'm forgetting anything, I'll so correct you later.
Thank you, John.
This tiny bit of water represents the fact that water, again, tastes really good to me. After having COVID, and I could hardly even stand it to drink water. I took liquids any other way I could. So now water tastes good.
Linda or Shelby?
This is water I got from the Sandy River. I went camping there, and also earlier this year I went to Costa Rica just to symbolize stopping, restoring, refilling.
I'm grateful to Jean for collecting this water. She went 12 inches to get it.
It's the water that flows under our house.
Very special. Do you have some also?
I have some also. This is the water that I drained out of my water bag for backpacks, for hiking and backpacking, when I went on the last hike with the Eastrose hikers up to Kiddick Mansion. Well, our big adventure this summer was going up to Vancouver, BC. So we stayed right along the waterfront and went walking along the water every day. And last weekend we went to Baker City, and the highlight of our trip was, as we were coming back from doing this little railroad, we saw a triple rainbow, like horizon to horizon, the whole thing. It was amazing, and really, it was great. This water symbolizes the lovely Hood Canal at Seabeck, Washington, where we go each summer to Elliott to have communion with all our wider UU friends, bonding with grandchildren, fun swimming, family. Thank you, Lord. This water symbolizes the water at the community center that I have been getting in kind of daily to do some exercises and to spend time with other people and getting fit. If you're new today, please feel free to participate.
So I'm on a bit of a journey. My mother broke her foot, and I've been serving her just in care and food and things like that. And I feel, in a way, broken open and poured out, and am humble and learning on this journey.
The greatest surprise of my garden this year has been my cucumbers. My juicy, crispy, fat, green cucumbers.
Okay, this water represents the water that I have in my house in our well. We have a well. And I believe water should be free to everybody. And that access to water is so important. And I'm grateful for the well. In the back. The water, for me, is just for myself to stay hydrated, make sure I drink plenty every day, and to have clean water. In California, when we poured out the tap, it was always foggy and yellow. But here, I can pour it from the tap. My mom was like, just get it from the sink. And I was like, okay. And I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, so grateful for our clean water. This is Brian's water bottle, one of them that he takes to work. It's so important for him to have really big water bottles as he's out there on long days in the summertime in the heat and smoke, fixing up people's houses. And so I'm just really grateful that we have water and we can keep it cold with ice.
Yeah, ice is really a luxury in some parts of the world. Fun.
That was water from a creek up in Washington by Hookland that my parents moved to in 1941, and it's the only source of water on the property. We drank it, used it for animals for many, many years. I grew up drinking this water all through grade school and high school. The creek has never run dry.
We didn't get to go far this summer, so I brought some water from my kitchen. And so much of our home life revolves around the kitchen, and yeah, that we're so humble, there's no place like it.
Who else? Eric.
Hi, I'm Eric. This is my first time here. This water represents the river of life, and my attempts to relinquish control and flow along its natural process.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Okay, I'll put in some final water, just like we do with joys and sorrows. For all of our streams that meet and merge here at Eastrose and out in the world. Blessed be. So we will extinguish the chalice. Extinguish the chalice, yes.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. So I'm curious how many of you are singing the words. It's fun to think about how these classic songs or songs from opera become popular songs. And I'd sing a little bit. I'll spare you that this time. We have just a couple of announcements here that were turned in. The first one is that next Saturday, September 16th, there will be an outdoor maintenance party from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Please bring pruning and weeding tools, gloves, water, hats, etc. And you can contact Keen Clay for details. He's not here right now. Larry, do you know details if people have questions for you? Okay. Next, our Friendship Circle dinners are back. Some of you may remember them as being 7 at 7, and we're glad. You can sign up today and until the sign-up deadline of September 24th. Give your sign-up sheets to Linda Shaldak or Keen Clay, and Linda is here. The dinner date is Saturday, September 30th, and if you'd like to know more details about these dinners, you can talk to Linda. Does that cover it? Oh. And it'll be on the sign-up sheet. Where are these sign-up sheets? You have them right there. Okay, okay. So I think that ends our service. And it's visiting time. For those of you who are on YouTube, you can switch from YouTube to Zoom and have a conversation with others who have been watching online. Those of you here in the chapel, we will have coffee brought forward as far as I know. So let's visit.